Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Jo Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Susan Neal-Fraser has a new path to possible freedom tonight after winning a bid for a new appeal against her murder conviction. Justice Brett found there is a fresh and compelling evidence relating to a homeless girl whose DNA was found on the yacht where Bob Chappell went missing from. Michael Breen has this report.
Today is a big step forward for Susan Neal-Fraser, who's been fighting for freedom since she was first taken into custody in 2009. It was an anxious day for her supporters as they arrived for decision day. How are you feeling today?
Cautiously optimistic, but hopefully, we get a positive outcome for today. But of course, whatever the outcome, it's going to be a very long journey ahead.
At trial, Susan Neal-Fraser was found guilty of murdering her partner Bob Chappell, who disappeared from their yacht off Sandy Bay in 2009. Now serving a 23-year jail sentence, her lawyers exhausted legal appeals. That's until new legislation gave her another chance to challenge the conviction if there's fresh and compelling evidence. 17 months after launching that legal bid, late this afternoon, Justice Brett has allowed for that appeal. His decision relying on evidence surrounding Megan Vass, a then 15-year-old homeless girl whose DNA was found on the yacht. Earlier in court for these hearings, she denied being on the yacht. But Justice Brett said he's received a new affidavit purporting to have been sworn last month, where she admits to being on the yacht the night of the murder with 2 men. At least one of them assaulted Mr. Chappell and she saw a lot of blood. Here's how Susan Neal-Fraser's daughter reacted a short time ago.
We believe we know now what's happened to Bob, but yet Mum stays in a prison cell. She's an innocent woman and it's time she came home and was with her grandchildren to have cuddles, and I want my mum back. It's time.
In granting the new appeal, Justice Brett said it's not for him to find the fact of the new evidence, but that will be up to the Court of Criminal Appeal. As Susan Neal-Fraser left the court, she smiled at her supporters. And while today is a big step, there are still many more to go before she has any possibility of release.
Members of the public have helped police track down and arrest a man in Mowbray after he allegedly tried to flee authorities on foot. Police laid a raft of charges on the accused relating to motor vehicle stealing and possessing ammunition.
A search for suspects on Vermont Road, Mowbray, suddenly heats up. Officers rush to nearby Heritage Forest, where a man's allegedly trying to outrun police on foot. With help from the public, police managed to find the man they're looking for, a 37-year-old from Newnham, apprehended and charged with motor vehicle stealing, unlawful possession of property and possessing ammunition without a licence. Soon after being taken away, he was bailed to appear in the Launceston Magistrates Court on April 29. A 32-year-old woman from Ravenswood was also arrested during the operation. She's been charged with motor vehicle stealing, stating a false name and aggravated burglary. The charges relate to a red Holden Colorado ute and a silver Subaru sedan allegedly stolen from a Newnham house yesterday. The Subaru is still missing. Anyone with information is asked to contact Crime Stoppers. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Travel plans for thousands of Hobart commuters came to a stop today, with Metro bus drivers walking off the job and going on strike for 4 hours. But despite public transport delays, some passengers were getting behind their fight for better pay and conditions.
Commuters left stranded, tourists, students and everyday Tasmanians forced to look for an alternate route.
And thought we'd do the tourist thing on public transport, and then we find 2 days into our trip there's no public transport. So it's a bit annoying.
I'm just not having a very good time. I've got a 10 a.m. lecture in about 20 minutes and I need to get down to the uni.
Today, more than 500 bus services were cancelled between 9:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m, while drivers took to strike action, claiming the wheels on the bus won't continue to go round until a better pay agreement is met.
We're having a stop work meeting to let the drivers of Springfield know the result of our EA vote, which was a 92% no vote to Metro's offer.
That offer including a 2% pay rise for Metro bus drivers. However, the union is labelling the proposal from state-owned Metro as nothing more than an insult.
Every worker deserves a living wage. Taking a 2% pay increase, you're actually losing a percent on CPI.
Despite causing commuter delays, some passengers were getting on board the fight.
They're not asking for a 20% rise, they're only asking for what they justly deserve. So yeah, definitely on their side.
Despite today's strike, Metro refused our interview request, the state government with this message for drivers.
Whilst they are making a point today, I'd encourage them to work sensibly with Metro, get back to the table and work their way through this.
But more disruption might be on the way, with no signs of progress. CASSY TRELOAR, 7 Tasmania News.
And across the state, a number of other sectors continued their protests today as the seemingly never-ending wages dispute between the government and public servants continues to escalate. The government threatening to take further action against those who joined the long-running strikes, including nurses and teachers. Docking pay is not off the table. Just weeks ago, unions turned down a new pay offer, saying it did not meet their demands.
Obviously, the government will, if necessary, use those lawful measures available to it to ensure that public health and public safety are protected.
This is an extraordinary overreaction to an industrial negotiation that occurs regularly that this government has absolutely botched.
The government is now seeking a meeting with unions next week, asking them to pause their industrial action. The head of Tasmania's fire service has been forced to defend his position following calls for his resignation. After a devastating season which saw dozens of emergency warnings issued, the Firefighters Union has raised concerns over the Chief Officer's leadership. But Chris Arnold swiftly fought back, saying he's not going anywhere.
It's a devastating scene, the full force of this summer's bushfires still being revealed.
The sustained impact and spread of the bushfires has meant that while we have been able to limit property losses, the impact on communities has been significant.
New data showing blazes destroyed 95,000 hectares of Wilderness World Heritage Area, around 6%. Recovery still ongoing.
With fires ongoing and resources still deployed, aggregate costs are yet to be quantified.
It comes amid calls from the United Firefighters Union for TFS Chief Officer Chris Arnold to resign, citing issues with a new workers' compensation policy, money for aerial resources and training.
The Chief Officer has failed in his leadership responsibilities, and certainly to listen to the concerns of his staff.
But it's a call Mr Arnold swiftly rejected, in a statement saying he will not be resigning as Chief Officer, and changing compensation insurance providers was a complex process, particularly with outstanding claims. The government today supporting the Chief.
Chris Arnold did a fantastic job through the recent fires. He's been a very good leader.
But the union says it was left with no choice.
The whole training system is a mess. That directly relates to firefighters' safety and welfare.
Set to meet with Mr Arnold tomorrow. Michelle WISBEY, 7 Tasmania News.
The father of an 11-week-old baby girl who died after he put her to bed at the family's Newnham home insists he did nothing wrong. Gaurav Endlay gave evidence at a coronial inquiry in Launceston over the 2016 death of Charlotte Lucan-Lay. Our reporter Sean McComish has more.
Gaurav Endlay faced a thorough cross-examination after his daughter Charlotte was found lifeless at their Newnham family home in February 2016. She later died at the Royal Hobart Hospital. In new claims, Mr Endlay said multiple rib fractures on the 11-week-old were caused by birthing undertaken by her mother, Miss Lou. Coroner Olivia McTaggart bluntly asked, "Is that your answer?" "Yes," he said. "That's your answer as to how Charlotte had rib fractures," she continued. "Yes," he repeated. He denied ever shaking the baby and accused Miss Lou of lying in her evidence. Lawyers for the coroner questioned why he initially told police she was a good mother. Miss Lou previously gave evidence at the inquiry, adamant her former husband is responsible for the death. She also questioned him via video link today, weeping as she explained how he once threatened to harm the baby if she did not cook. As he gave evidence, Coroner McTaggart reminded Mr Endley that he was under oath multiple times, at one point questioning if he was telling the truth. The inquest has been adjourned. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
In the lead up to the federal election, Tasmania's East Coast has welcomed a significant funding boost. National Senator Barnaby JOYCE stopped by St Mary's to announce Breakaday and Glamorgan Spring Bay councils are now $1 million richer, thanks to immediate drought assistance funding.
Visiting the Fingal Valley, the Nationals acknowledged today's collective $2.9 million in immediate funding for the East Coast was also about remaining a hit with voters.
Every day you're going to try and win votes, aren't you? You're going to try and put yourself before the people and do your very best job. There's never a day in public life and politics where you're not trying to win votes.
And that job by Senator Steve Martin to secure $1 million each for the Breakaday and Glamorgan Spring Bay municipalities to stimulate the economy during drought, as well as a further $400,000 for a high-tech flood warning system for St Mary's, although seen as overdue, was certainly welcomed.
So, how do you like them for apples?
If this was the wheel of fortune, I'd say come on down. Ladies and gentlemen, I think as we've all just heard, we have been extremely fortunate.
This is a further stimulus to remind people it is not just a drought for people on the land, it's a drought for the people in towns who rely on the money that comes from the land. And on this money for the councils has arrived today. We fought for it, we've delivered on it. It is here now for the council to utilise, and you will see the benefits of it.
The Mayor saying both councils will ensure the drought assistance funding will be used to boost trade and assist businesses in the quieter months. Today's announcement also seeing $500,000 allocated to restore Fingal's old Tasmanian hotel, built in 1856, back to its former glory.
How good will it be to see it restored?
It'll be amazing. Like this hotel, I guess, was closed in the 1960s and has been from the 80s has been on a gradual process of restoration. So, yeah, it'll be great to see it.
Jessie Gilmour, 7 Tasmania News.
The controversial Mount Wellington cable car is one step further to getting off the ground, with the government granting the company access to the mountain. The business will soon be able to start drilling and conducting flora and fauna exploration. The authority allowing staff to take samples at 30 specific sites where a cable car would be built to help put together a development application. But it remains an issue which has divided Tasmanians.
The company is well aware of some minor transgressions that occurred in the past and that they will, to the letter, engage in the activities under the authority.
We are going to see people protest on that mountain to defend it. We are going to see members of the public go into a public national park, protected area, to defend it.
Once work starts, the company will have 60 days on the mountain to complete its exploration. The overrepresentation of young male drivers in our state's road toll has led to the launch of a new ad campaign. Males aged 17 to 25 currently make up 17% of serious casualties, resulting to a new version of the Real Mates campaign, released today to target irresponsible young men.
Mates to tell other mates to be really honest with them and say, if you've been drinking, don't drive.
The commercial will be shown on social media and television. In a true show of community spirit, 11 people have bravely shaved their heads today in support of a classmate with cancer. These 3 teachers and 8 students at Kingston Southern Christian College volunteering their long locks to be sheared off, all in support of their much-loved friend, 6-year-old Ned Isham, who is coming to the end of a long battle with leukaemia.
I'm shaving my head today in honour of this lovely girl's little brother who's suffering from leukemia, because I love him so much.
It's quite exciting to have the school community rally behind us for something like this.
A whopping $14,000 was raised by the school for the Leukaemia Foundation.
Tasmania's best footballing talent is set to have more exposure to AFL Talent Scouts this year, with UTAS Stadium hosting a triple-header representative day in June. It'll also give a solid indication whether or not the state is ready for its own VFL team. It's being billed as one of the highlights on the Tasmanian football calendar for 2019.
I think it is an opportunity for our players to not only represent the state, but no doubt, speaking to our talent department, AFL recruiters will be there watching the 3 games.
AFL Tasmania today confirming Tasmania Devils under-25 side will take on a Victorian Metro representative squad as part of a triple header on June 9 at UTAS Stadium, along with the TAC Cup clash between the Devils and Murray Bushrangers and the under-18 National Championship match between the Allies and Vic Country.
And hopefully the Tassie community will come out and support it, and hopefully there'll be plenty of AFL recruiters there also keeping an eye on our talent.
SAUNDER also confirming that the opportunity to impress in the under-25 side won't just be available to players from within the TSL.
There's quality players playing well in the NWFL or other leagues around the state. Our talent guys will certainly know about that, and they'll be given the opportunity.
And with AFL Tasmania hoping to secure a VFL licence within the next 2 years, the match is set to give the strongest indication yet whether the state is ready for the step up.
Not only tests our talent in that space, but also gives us an idea on what the pathway looks like. We're really confident we're going to have a really strong side, and we'll take it up to the Vics.
Following weeks of speculation, the worst has been confirmed for the Brighton Football Club, making the tough decision overnight not to participate in the Men's Southern Football League this season. After meeting with the club, the SFL says although it may have the numbers to field a senior team, its view is that it would be under strength and would benefit from a season in the reserves grade. The club will still field a side in the women's competition, however, and hopes to re-enter the men's senior competition in 2020. Well, don't lose hope. That's the message to Tasmanian soccer fans from David Gallop after visiting the state today. But the Football Federation Australia's CEO says Tasmanians also need to be realistic about the timeline for a potential A-League team. It's been years since Gallop has been down here, and he wasted no time getting straight down to the point.
It's an opportunity to be a truly national competition by having an A-League team in Tasmania. So I think the plans for that and the possibility of that are still real.
It's been 12 months since Tasmania failed in its bid to join the national competition, with the FFA opting instead to award licences for 2 new teams in Sydney and Melbourne. But Football Tasmania insists it's now much better placed to capture the peak body's attention.
We want to be at 14 teams. We can't just keep adding teams to metropolitan cities like Sydney and Melbourne, so that's what puts somewhere like Tasmania in the frame.
A lot of momentum generated over the last 12 months since the first bid went in, so the backers of it, the financial backers of it, are still interested. They're still keen on putting another bid in at the first opportunity.
But that's not likely to be for at least another 2 years unless one of the current A-League clubs unexpectedly folds, giving the state a bit of time to strengthen its case.
I think we got a pretty good indication from the state government that they're fully behind the bid. They asked questions about timing, about funding the stadium, those sorts of things.
We would want a good facility for an A-League team to play out of, and certainly we've heard some encouraging noises about what that might look like today.
And with several sporting codes chasing the same dream, the race is heating up to see which one can provide Tasmania with a long-awaited team to call its own.
We may even launch membership of the new club this year. So again, there's a lot of people interested in this.
And it was an historic night for Riverside in the NPL, notching up their first ever win in the competition. The league newcomers struck first against crosstown rivals Launceston City just before half-time, before City squared things up, a courtesy of a corner, with Noah Miles heading it home. But with the clock winding down, Riverside seized an opportunity in the box to seal the 2-1 win.
It was jumped all over by Gilmour, slid through. Kinslow's going to get there first. This Reece Kinslow's got no support. He doesn't need it. Reece Kinslow buries it, and Riverside reclaim the lead. It's jubilant scenes here on the sidelines for the Roos.
In the night's other matchup, Glenorchy were a class above Clarence United, slotting through 5 unanswered goals to record their second victory of the season and keep Clarence winless on the bottom of the league ladder. To cricket, and the Tasmanian Tigers are in need of a minor miracle following day 2 of their Sheffield Shield clash with New South Wales at Blunston Arena. After dismissing the Blues for a first innings total of 375 this morning, Jordan Silk and Alex Doolan set about chasing it down before a Silk's run was brought to an end on 25, courtesy of Trent Copeland. Charlie Wakeham unable to contribute much to the cause as Copeland claimed his second victim of the day. Doolan providing the home side with some slight glimmers of hope, notching up another domestic first-class 50 before a bad light put an end to play late this afternoon, with the Tigers trailing by 258 runs.
Good evening. Well, I got the email today. First round of the AFL, please wear your footy colours this evening, and it looks like I've been set up. I'm the only one. A warm night last night around the state for this time of year. Liaweenie the low with 10, while our top today was 28 in Launceston. Hobart 18, Burnie 21 and Devonport 22. A few showers over the east and inland. Pine Forest more, the highest fall with 6 millimetres. Ouse got to 25 degrees, Flinders Island 24, Strawn 22, Low Head and St Helens 21 and Liaweenie 18 degrees. Mostly cloudy conditions today with onshore winds bringing the cloud over the east coast. Now more onshore cloud over southern and eastern coastal regions of the mainland. Category 1 cyclone Trevor is off Weipa in the Gulf region, while Veronica, a Category 4, is northwest of Broome. Tomorrow, not much change in the pattern apart from the ridge breaking down over South Australia, trough lines across the North Island as well. East to southeasterly winds at 10 to 20 knots, inshore afternoon sea breezes over the north, increasing to 25 knots over the northwest later. Friday, 20 in Hobart, drizzle at times. Huonville, drizzle at times, and 20, 21 the top for Campania with a bit of drizzle as well. 24 the high for Launceston, a shower or two. 21 for Devonport and Georgetown, partly cloudy. Burnie partly cloudy as well, 21 the maximum. 22 for Strawn with a possible shower. Wynyard partly cloudy and 21 degrees. St Helens tomorrow 21 as well. A cloudy day, drizzle at times for Swansea, cooling down to 19 and a top of 20 for Port Arthur. UV very high over Strawn but moderate for Hobart. On Saturday, showers over the west in the morning, extending statewide during the afternoon and evening. Mainly fine on Sunday apart from showers extending from the west to the north. And on Monday, showers again with snow to 800 metres, showers clearing the east in the afternoon. Partly cloudy and warm for Perth, Adelaide and Melbourne tomorrow. Possible showers for Canberra, Sydney and Brisbane. Little cloudy at the moment, 16 right now in Hobart, 23 still in Launceston, mostly cloudy in Devonport at 19. Once again, Joe, you didn't join the party. Even Tom Cooper's effort was pretty paltry, just like his team Collingwood. But I'll give you the tip tonight. It'll be the Tigers by 42 points.
Well, your wife will be happy then. All right, thanks very much, Murph. That's all from the team for now. Thanks for your company. Bye-bye.